In a victory for auto workers, auto tariffs mark the beginning of the end of NAFTA and the free trade disaster. This is like really bad, man. UAW praising the auto tariffs as a victory for labor? Jesus. UAW leaders say they were blindsided by the announcement of layoffs at the Cleveland Cliffs Dearborn Works, a plant that supplies steel for the auto industry. We have proletariat at home. The proletariat at home. UAW is probably just trying to suck up to the regime so they don't get blown out by force. It's not gonna work. That's like an insane thing of them to think, if they believe that. This is the most anti-union president in modern history.
Of government employees has warned Trump's latest executive order would strip labor protections for hundreds of thousands of civil servants. Is this order meant to make it easier to slash the size of the federal workforce?
Yeah, hey, Judy, that could certainly be one of the aspects here. We know that we have seen a number of these unions sue.
This isn't a fell for it moment, guys. Federal workers are overwhelmingly Democrat.
In response to some of these executive orders and other actions taken by the Trump administration, including that Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, that has received so much attention for its efforts to scale down the size and scope of the federal government. So certainly that could be one aspect here, though I will note the Trump administration has said that the purpose of this order, this effort, was because they argue that the Civil Service Reform Act of 1978 argued that allows government workers to unionize, which, quote, enables hostile federal unions to obstruct agency management. So that's what we're hearing from the Trump administration directly. But certainly there are a lot of questions here of, is this a way to take away perhaps a roadblock as the Trump administration tries to, as you mentioned, scale back the size and scope of the federal government?
The White House cited national security.
Imagine being UAW and supporting this guy.
Is getting a thumb. President Trump's 25% tariff on imported vehicles is getting a thumbs up from the president of the United Auto Workers Union. Sean Fain told Major Garrett the tariffs will bring jobs back to the U.S., but he said more needs to be done for workers.
Tariffs aren't the total solution. Tariffs are a tool in the toolbox to get these companies to do the right thing. The big part of this that gets left out a lot of times is if they're going to bring jobs back here, you know, they need to be life-sustaining jobs where people can make a good wage, a living wage, have adequate health care.
You can see Major's interview with Sean.
It's so bad, man.
Sean Fain Sunday on Face the Nation.
Yeah, actually, give me a little more on that, please. Give me a little more on Sean Fain.
President Trump signed an executive order last night aimed at ending collective bargaining rights for many government workers. The order applies to workers across many federal agencies, including the Departments of State, Defense, Justice, and Health and Human Services. Earlier today, I spoke to the president of the United Automobile Workers, Sean Fain, about President Trump's efforts. Since you brought up this executive order, it regards an effort by the Trump administration through the president to stop or certainly dramatically slow collective bargaining for federal workers. Randy Irvin, who's currently the president of the National Federation of the Federal Employees, calls it the biggest assault.
Isn't he the one who came on during the DNC speech? Yeah, no, it is. It's like a huge turnaround. I had way higher hopes for Sean Fain. I don't know how they got to him or if he was always this bad and everything was insincere or if he's like entirely self-serving. I don't really know.
Collective bargaining he has ever seen. Do you agree with those sentiments?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, spot on. Look, I remember when I was 12 years old when Reagan busted the PATCO workers. You know, that was a massive issue back then, and we've heard a lot of people talk about the labor. Yes, and you know that you know labor should have done more then. Look, this is 100 times worse than PATCO ever dreamed of being. When you're talking, you know, 700,000 people, their contracts just being taken away. And so, you know, as I said, you know, free speech is under attack. Unions are under attack. You look at the changes to the NLRB. You look at the situation with the Department of Labor, Department of Education.
Is it possible he's just playing the base? Well, yeah, the average member of these unions is a Republican, or at the very least, like not left-leaning, which is insane, you know? It's like you got like unions, people view unions very self-servingly. They are self-serving, you know? There's a big difference between a union and like a militant political organization that pushes for leftward reform. And UAW has just not bridged that gap at all. unions are protectionists. They don't have to be. It isn't in their interest for these tariffs to come out, man. It's just not. It's stupid.
You know, Veterans Affairs, I mean, why are all these things under attack? Medicare, Social Security. It's because, you know, billionaires want more tax cuts for themselves. And it's been proven time and again, that's not what works for America. That's not good for the American people. The working class people in America, they want their fair share. They're not asking to be rich. They just want a decent standard of living. And again, that goes back to what we call our 4 core issues. You know, living wages, adequate health care, retirement security, and having some quality of life other than just everything revolving around work.
You can see more of my conversation with UAW.
No, I think that's enough. Oh, whatever, man. To go with all of that and still to support the tariffs, what do I got in the links? Oh, I saw a bunch of people getting mad over this.
Elizabeth Warren is not going to save you! The Democratic Party is not going to save you! They did not save Rumesa! She is detained! In fucking Louisiana! They did not save hundreds of thousands of my people murdered by U.S. bombs!
A lot of people getting mad over this, like liberals who are angry at the don't vote crowd, who, if anything, have been kind of vindicated. They've been completely vindicated. It is difficult to put forward the case right now. Like, you should be less mean to Democrats, you know? Did you cover the psychotic vid Kristi Noem made at the El Salvadorian prison? Yeah.
I also want everybody to know, if you come to our country illegally, this is one of the consequences you could face.
Or if you come to the country legally, or if you're a productive citizen who speaks out against the Trump administration, or if you're on a student visa and you legally write an op-ed in your student newspaper decrying the pro-Israeli policies of the Trump and Biden administrations, or if you have a tattoo.
First of all,
if you come to our country with an autism awareness tattoo in recognition of your brother, your ass is going in Supermax, basically.
do not come to our country illegally. You will be removed and you will be prosecuted. But know that this facility is one of the tools in our toolkit that we will use.
Do you think the Nazis would have done videos like this in front of the gates of Auschwitz-Birkenau if they had the kind of mass media control? Because mass media wasn't really a thing back then. For the most part, the Nazis kind of like pretended the Holocaust wasn't happening in public. They sort of pretended. Like, they didn't really pretend, but they didn't do much to officially acknowledge it. It was just kind of like a, you know, because of the implications sort of thing. The most depressing thing to me is the fact that they 100% told all these guys to line up here and be respectful and don't make any noise because they'd be tortured if they did. Because obviously, otherwise, they'd be like, yelling at her. So they were definitely told, like, if you make a noise, we will, like, anally rape you with a baton or something. She's wearing a $50,000 Rolex in the video? Okay. I mean, like, I just expect everyone in the Trump administration to be getting bribed all the time. So, I don't know.
U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem tours El Salvador's Terrorism Confinement Center, the largest prison facility in the Americas, widely referred to as Hell on Earth. It's where the U.S. government sent 238 Venezuelan immigrants nearly 2 weeks ago, alleging they belonged to the criminal gang Tren de Aragua. Many were sent to El Salvador without trial or criminal charges of any kind, to this prison where they have zero contact with the outside world, including lawyers and family. Noem signed a memorandum to continue sending alleged migrant criminals to the facility, despite widespread charges of human rights violations.
I also want everybody to know, if you come to our country illegally, this is one of the consequences you could face. First of all, do not come to our country illegally. You will be removed and you will be prosecuted. But know that this facility is one of the tools in our toolkit that we will use if you commit crimes against the American people.
5,500 kilometers away in Chile's capital, 26-year-old Venezuelan Natalie Sanchez is in despair.
There are visitors of Nazis visiting prisoners. Yeah, but these were, this was a prisoner of war. They didn't publicize as much the actual like Holocaust, you know. Most of the prisoners of war the Nazis kept were treated better than, well, it's difficult to treat any group of people worse than like the people at Auschwitz-Birkenau, right? That's a pretty low bar. Still treated them pretty badly. Unless they were Russian. No. I'm not saying they treated the POWs well. I'm just saying, like, comparatively. That same day, Himmler ordered Einsatzgruppe B Gruppenführer Arthur Nib to demonstrate his unit's technique for shooting Jews. Think we're going to get down to that? Who's that crazy bitch who tries really hard to be like an edgy fascist on social media? The one who lost the house race? Valentina Gomez, Herzberg, you're on it. I barely even gave you anything to work with there. You pulled that out of the damn ether. Also, what a Chad here. Jesus Christ. Neb selected 98 Jewish men and 2 women. According to Wolf, Himmler attended the massacre and questioned one of the condemned, a blonde youth. Himmler asked, "Are you a Jew?" The man answered, "Yes." Himmler asked, "Are both your parents Jews?" Again, he answered, "Yes." Himmler asked, "Do you have any ancestors who are not Jews?" "No," the man answered. "Then I can't help you," Himmler said. What a balls of steel Soviet POW. Jesus Christ. He's like, Himmler's looking for any excuse, because Himmler was like squeamish about this stuff. Any excuse to not execute the blonde Russian, and the Russian was like, nope, Jewish all the way down, buddy. Take your shot. What a goddamn... Meanwhile, chat struggles to get a 50 glorp combo. That's true. But you guys got like an 83 once, right? I bet you if that Jewish Soviet prisoner of war could see that, he'd be pretty proud of you.